chance, according to the betting odds, of winning the election. As I read this off the screen now, 69.2%. So whoever's doing the betting out there and affecting these odds is increasingly of the view that he will win the election.
And how much does it impact it that, it's the first year that you're seeing some of these betting markets in the United States? Because there's a lot of people who are playing them probably in a fundamental way.
These odds proposed by Maxim Lott and John Stossel are from Betfair, Smarkets, Predicted, Polymarket, Kalshi, and
it's a basket.
It's a basket. It's an average.
Dana, what are you looking at?
I am looking at some of just on X, watching some of the Democrats complain about the Electoral College. And, about a week ago, there was some conventional wisdom that she could actually win the Electoral College, but that Trump would win the popular vote. And then there would be no complaints about the Electoral College from them if that were to happen. So obviously it's too soon to call, but I'm certainly watching that to see what they're going to say. Plus, I have been wondering about Kamala Harris and this whole decision of Biden to run again when she knew that he was incapable, but they were still asking their donors, give us all your money. He's okay for 4 more years. And obviously he wasn't. But then that did not leave her enough time. Apparently, that's another complaint that they have, for her to introduce herself, even though they had over $1 billion to do it.
And they had 100 days, Harold, and she passed up a lot of opportunities early on. I think we went for, 40 days or something with no press conference. And it took a really long time for her to finally sit down with Brett and have a substantive interview. I mean, there was time.
Sure. Again, we're acting like this thing is over.
No, we're not. I'm just playing off of Dana's point.
But I do think after the debate, she performed so well against Trump. She asked for another debate. I thought that the interview that Brett did with her was as substantive an interview as we've seen with her throughout the last several years. You would have thought, because she did well there, that she would want to go and do more of them. But
more interviews?
More interviews to sit down and talk
with Brett.
After the one with Brett,
she mooted the question about when she first knew that he was not himself.
Well, I have a slightly different opinion on that. I thought she did. She gave in that interview, and I thought if I were her, I'd have gotten out and done more. But she did some, and
she was so cautious.
She gave a pre-debate answer. She said Biden's great. He's fine. I've seen him do all this wonderful
stuff. I would have done it very differently than her. However,
I'm sure you would.
But the way she did it. She put herself in a position to be 50-50 here this evening. And if we're to believe Trey, this thing could be listening to the two smart guys in the green room. It could be 269. She must have done something right. I still look at Michigan and Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. Since 1980, those 3 states have not gone all together other than 1988. Dukakis got Wisconsin and HW won the other 2. If the numbers are tracking right and continue along those lines, we could find ourselves in a position where we're having a conversation about a Congress. Then it would be curious, Sean, if the Democrats win the House, how does that play into it? Look, I hope we don't get there because I don't want this fight. The country doesn't need this division.
But the House does the president and the Senate does the vice president. So you could end up with President Trump and Vice President Harris.
But they vote after the election.
They vote after the election, and it's only 1 vote per delegation. But we'll cross that bridge when it comes to it. Senator Smith is digging into the voter analysis stuff and how it tracks with the raw vote and what we're seeing.
Just trying to keep feeding your conversation there. And Martha, I know you were asking about the suburban vote and what we're seeing with our Fox News voter analysis and some really interesting findings I'll put up here for you. As far as the suburban voters concerned, this is what we're seeing in Pennsylvania. Okay, suburban voters. Kamala Harris right now has the lead, okay? But this is about a 6-point difference. And if you were to put this in perspective with what we saw in 2020, Biden was leading with this group, suburban voters in Pennsylvania, by 10 percentage points. This is a 6-point margin by which she's leading. So she is not leading with the suburban voter in Pennsylvania by the same margin as Joe Biden in 2020. All right, if I were to break that out by gender, this is also telling another story. Okay, suburban women. Martha, you were asking about this. This is what we're seeing in Pennsylvania. Obviously, they have been courting those voters on the ground there. This is almost identical. The margin that she's leading by, Joe Biden led by this over Donald Trump in 2020. So not a lot of movement there. We also talked about the story that was developing with the black voters down in Georgia. I can also report to you, Brett and Martha, right now that Donald Trump, is leading by more with the black voter in Pennsylvania than he was in 2020. Back to you guys.
So big numbers.
Yeah.
You got a call to make.
Fox News can now project that Donald Trump will win the state of Ohio 54.2% to 45%. So obviously that was what was anticipated in the early polling. He was ahead by about 8 points. This is a 9-point stretch, so a little bit higher than the most recent polling was showing in the state of Ohio, but a solid win for him in what used to be a swing state, but hasn't been for quite some time.
And obviously, there's 54% of the vote in. But as you look at the Electoral College, 195 to 113. Again, Ohio used to be the swingiest of swing states, no longer, very Republican, much like Florida. And now it ticks on. Obviously, we're looking at these battleground states. One of them, Sean Hannity, it seems, is Virginia. You just got a message from the governor?
I've been communicating with Governor Youngkin, and the last text, at one point I said, so it's not in reach. He just said, hold on, really tight. Yeah. The exact quote from Glenn Youngkin. Here's what's interesting. All night I've been looking for an answer to the question about turnout in Philly and the suburbs of Philly. We talked earlier about the university population. That's one part of the population. But the vote lead was 700,000.
Lord, to you we entrust our communities, our leaders, our president, our country. We give it all up to you. Jesus, we trust in you. Amen.
Safety is the only thing that matters. We design smarter ways to detect motion for fast emergency response. We create HD cameras so you can see what's happening in your home from anywhere. All powered by fast detect technology. Exclusively from SimpliSafe for faster police response. Get SimpliSafe today with no contracts or cancellation fees, so you're never locked in. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
What is the demonstration better listening? How can you
Here's how you use search from Google to DuckDuckGo on all your devices. DuckDuckGo comes with a built-in search engine like Google, but it's private and doesn't spam your searches. And DuckDuckGo lets you browse and find with lots of things including ads that follow you around from Google and other companies. And there's no catch. It's free. And you can use ads if you're good at following around. Join the millions of people taking back their privacy by downloading DuckDuckGo on all your devices today.
There was some movement in its race. It tightened a little bit, and there was some discussion that maybe Ted Cruz might lose his seat, but he has handily.
You know how much money it is?
Everything
what Sean Hannity was going to say. We'll see what it does. But it's not to see how many votes
I think I did that to myself. I tweeted a video, and they called it later.
Lord, we trust you. We give to you everything. Our leaders, our president, our country. We give it all to you. Jesus, we trust in you.
This
Trying to get this thing done, it just doesn't really stretch your mind. Anticipating that the work
Since they want Democrat Moreno to the 2020, they were chocolate also in other places. Even negotiating against the United States like Twitter, I was making it and they don't democracy is not destiny. That's why we're going to see that. We're only going to go
Seeing signs of strong performance in the WOW counties. We just have partial data. We don't expect complete results from Wisconsin until tomorrow morning between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. We shall see.
We shall see. California Senate race, as we talked about, can project that the current Democratic Congressman, Adam Schiff, will win his race against former Major League Baseball player Steve Garvey in that Senate race. And Washington's incumbent Democratic Senator Maria Cantwell will win her 5th term. Not big surprises on that front this evening either. So here's the balance of power in the Senate: 49 for Republicans. The majority is 51. They have flipped 1 seat, 42 for the Democrats, as we wait for a number of these big Senate races to be called. Ohio, Montana, Pennsylvania, all will really dictate the future of the Senate.
And Michigan. Let's bring in our panel: Britt Hume, Dana Perino, Harold Ford Jr. They've been here for a while. Kevin O'Leary, Jessica Tarloff, and Ben Domenech. Jessica, are you surprised?
Surprised is a very generous term for how I'm feeling in this particular moment. It is in Democrats' nature to be anxious, and we are certainly at peak anxiousness. I think the conversation that you were having in the last panel about the Latino vote is really interesting. Some of these numbers are a little bit jaw-dropping, looking at, potentially 45% for Donald Trump in some states. And that is going to cause a real reckoning within the party on how we talk about, message to, and integrate, a huge part of our base typically in all of this. I would say, though, that the campaign and people that I've been speaking to have said nothing has been called. Our paths to 270 have not been blocked off. And as we continue to get more vote in, and I should add to the numbers that they messaged to you, Detroit is coming in. And Detroit had a very good day with in-person voting today. And the suburbs of Atlanta outperforming where Biden was there. One point of concern is that she's not doing as well in the rural areas as Biden did. And that's something that they're paying attention to. But I'm hearing more and more from people that I'm speaking to, blue wall. And this morning we were talking about, well, if you pick up North Carolina and Georgia, again, they're not off the map, but it is feeling like more of that laser focus on the easiest route.
Ben, welcome, first of all. Good to see you tonight. I'm sitting here thinking about the rethink that Republicans went through after Mitt Romney lost. And they did this huge analysis of what was going wrong with the Republican Party and why they weren't reaching Hispanic voters, why they couldn't reach working class voters, why they weren't bringing in more women. And it really is stunning when you think about that. That was Mitt Romney's loss. And it appears that the person who has changed that calculus dramatically is Donald Trump.
Well, they called it an autopsy at the time, and I think it's turned out to be an autopsy for a party that was dead. And I think that Donald Trump has done something incredible in resurrecting it with a new coalition that, a lot of people never thought Republicans were going to be able to reach, that they weren't going to be able to cut through a lot of these different fundamental problems that people thought were there in order to reach these different sets of the electorate. And look, I think the big question they have to be asking is how much of that is tied to Donald Trump himself and how much of it is something that the Republican Party going forward can build on. And regardless of whatever ends up happening here tonight and tomorrow morning in terms of these blue wall states and the things that we take away from it, certainly we can take away this is the most incredible political comeback that we've seen since 1968. It's the most incredible remaking of the Republican coalition that we've seen in a way that was really unexpected by all but a handful of people. And how they build on that, how they choose to prioritize policies going forward could make a big difference in whether they're able to hold on to it in the future or whether it's something that goes away if Donald Trump isn't at the top of the ticket.
Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful. The markets now have it at 92.5% for Donald Trump winning this election to Kamala Harris at 7.0%. You're a market guy. How do you read this?
I'm going to stay on this theme for a moment and call this perhaps the greatest night the Democratic Party can ever have if they lose. And let me explain that. I was very troubled just over 100 days ago when they circumvented the democratic process and anointed somebody. The analogy is easy to a Super Bowl. You arrive at the Super Bowl game, and by any measure, this is the Super Bowl of global politics, the presidential race. Your quarterback, Biden, is injured. He's taken out of the game. You don't bring a quarterback in that's never, ever, ever won any game anywhere. You run a process. And they missed that opportunity. This is a chance for them to, I'm not saying they're going to lose, but I'm going to those percentages and saying they get to reboot. They get to go back to the center. They get to scratch this whole thing. And the influences of a Schumer or a Pelosi or a movie star or an Obama deciding to anoint somebody, those guys are gone in 4 years. They won't have that kind of influence. This could be great for America because I'm an investor. I have to work with who's ever in the White House in January. But I care about policy. And when I hear policies coming out of a party that are so twisted against the American way of life, like basically taxing capital gains that are unrealized, that's not America. Or price controls, that's not America. 28% tax rate takes us to the bottom quartile of competition. That's bad. We can't do that. That would hurt the country. And all I do is work with entrepreneurs that want to build businesses. There's a reason people come here under barbed wire and drown in rivers to get into America. It's the American dream. It's the only thing the president has to do is to maintain it. Those policies are against the American dream. And
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the next senator of the great state of Ohio, Bernie Moreno.
Thank you. I need to get this off the microphone. Thank you, by the way. Thank you. Look, today starts a new wave. You know, we talked about wanting a red wave. I think what we have tonight is a red, white, and blue wave in this country. Because what we need in the United States of America is leaders in Washington, D.C. that actually put the interests of American citizens above all else. We're tired of being treated like second-class citizens in our own country. We're tired of leaders that think we're garbage. And we're tired of being treated like garbage. You know, my opponent talked a lot about helping the working man. And I will agree with him on the need to help working Americans. But the difference is talk without action is nothing. So what we're going to do, thanks to now having a Republican majority, by the way, how about that, in the United States Senate. And Chuck Schumer, if you're watching, thanks for the help in the primary, but you're fired, buddy. This is a new dawn of Republican leadership. With President Trump and J.D. Vance in the White House, we are going to advance an agenda that is an American agenda. An agenda that says we are pro-immigration, but not pro-invasion. We're going to make certain that the people who come to this country are invited here like I was, like my family was, on our terms. We're going to make this country an energy-dominant nation so that my kids do not grow up in a country where we ever rely on a foreign nation for energy ever, ever again. And we have that energy right here in Ohio. That means coal, that means natural gas, it means oil, it means nuclear. And in terms of EV mandates, they need to be gone first thing in January. And we're going to make certain that we tell California, you don't get to dictate to the whole country what our emission standards are. We're going to dictate that at the federal level, and we're going to allow consumers to pick the kind of car they want. Look, the other piece that I want to talk about is what President Trump has brought to this country, which is peace and stability around the world. America will be a leader in the world. Will always be a leader in the world. American leadership has made the planet safer, more prosperous, and more secure than at any point in human history. But it means that we ensure peace through strength. The weakness of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris is rejected, and I know that from whether it's in Jerusalem or Kiev or anywhere else on earth or Taiwan, they're cheering this election because they know American strength will ensure peace around the world. And if you're a police officer in this country, just know you have a senator in me and a Republican Party that will always have your back. And we got rid of Chuck Schumer tonight, but pretty soon we're going to get rid of another couple people that need to be gone. First among them, Randy Weingarten should start packing her bags. Because what we need in this country is school choice for all Americans. And as I look at my children, I've blessed with 4 kids. And by the way, can we give my wife an amazing round of applause, please? Thank you, Bridget. Bridget. Look, we need to make certain that we honor teachers. They're doing great work in every corner of the country. Teachers are our front line. Unfortunately, they have a teachers union that doesn't care about them. We're going to make certain we empower teachers to teach our kids what they need to do. And that means getting the federal government out of the way and allowing states to take on this responsibility. And finally, I'm going to say this. We're $36 trillion in debt. This is not sustainable. We cannot continue on this fiscal path. What we're going to do is massively reduce the size and scale of the federal government, and we're going to do it from Congress, because it's Congress that has the power of the purse. Now that starts by getting rid of agencies that we don't need, relocating them out of Washington, D.C. We're going to have a bold and ambitious agenda for the Republican Party. And I know that President Trump is going to bring greatness back to this country unlike anything we've ever seen. So President Trump, if you're watching, thank you. Thank you for being decisive in my primary. Thank you for being the greatest president of my generation. And thank you for the sacrifices that you've made for this country. This country owes Donald J. Trump a debt of gratitude. And the Senator J.D. Vance. Ohio loves you, man. Ohio loves you. I love you. Look, I cannot think of a more brilliant pick than when President Trump selected J.D. Vance. I know J.D., let me just tell you, he's a great man. He is going to be an incredible vice president. I can't wait to have him leave his office so I can be the senior senator from Ohio. I also just got off the phone with my friend Jim Jordan. Jim is a great human being, a great power here in Ohio. Jim Jordan, thank you so much for what you've done. I'd also like to thank my campaign team. We built the greatest campaign team out there. And if you're watching this and you want to go to Washington, D.C., and you're from Ohio, and you want to go down there and make a difference, let's talk tomorrow. Let's talk tomorrow. Because we're going to build an incredible campaign operation, incredible Senate operation, and an incredible constituent services operation, because I believe that people who pay taxes deserve a government that works for them. And then finally, let me just say to my kids, thank you so much for being on this journey with us. You know, I have absolutely been blessed by God Almighty with an amazing wife, amazing kids, 3 amazing grandkids. But I want to introduce you to my extended family, because I like to say we're overperforming Catholics. So I'm going to bring my siblings. If I can bring my siblings up on stage. Where are they? They're all over here. Let's give them a round of applause. I'm going to say one last thing. You know, my mom and dad left the safety and security of knowing what they had when they left Colombia, South America. They didn't know what America would mean to them. They didn't know what it would mean to the 7 of us, but they did it anyway, because they knew that in America, whatever dream you have, whatever ideas you have, you can make come true if you're willing to work hard enough and persevere. And my mom and dad are not alive to watch this moment, but I know they're up in heaven watching down upon us and thinking, this is a great country. And they made the right decision. And I know for one person, that my mom and dad would be looking down and saying, this is an amazing thing, is my sister Vicky. Would be so proud of you, Vicky, for everything that you've done. You've been kind of our substitute mom along the way. Look, Vicky, you were almost like my mom growing up, because both my parents worked really, really hard. So Vicky was the one who would make sure that I always stayed true to myself. My brother Luis, thank you for your leadership and guidance. I think Sherrod Brown and Chuck Schumer owe you a little bit of an apology, by the way. I don't think it'll come. And to Jose, and Alex, and Richie, thank you so much for kicking the crap out of me when I was younger. I appreciate it. You made me tough. You made me tough. Hey, look, to all of you, we celebrate tonight not as Republicans. We celebrate tonight as Americans. And to the people out there in Ohio who didn't vote for me, just know that I will always advocate for you. I will always have your back, and I will work for the next 6 years to win you over. Because my responsibility is to the entirety of Ohio, and I will always work tirelessly to make sure that we do everything possible, that I work my tail off to make your life better. So to Ohio, to all the people I've met on the campaign trail, to the thousands and thousands upon people who prayed for me, prayed for Bridget, and kept us in your prayers, I can't tell you what this means. This is the greatest honor of my life to represent you in Washington, D.C., and I will not let you down. Thank you so much.
Let the rest of the world help us function. Let's keep it very close. How high is the who has been pushed? There's things to be done in the world. Let's rebuild the very first. That's all we do. That's not the rest of it all. In position, back in way. Freedom's stuck in place. Let's get out. Back on track. And let's rebuild the man. I made 26 years it's close. today at the reception. A glass of wine in her hand. I knew she was gonna meet her connection. At her feet was a footloose man. You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. But if you try sometimes, well, you might find you get what you need. And I went down to the demonstration to get my fair share of abuse. Singing words gonna vent our frustration. If we don't, we're gonna blow a 50 amp fuse. Sing it to me. You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. But if you try sometimes, well, you just might find you get what you need. Oh, yeah. I went down to the Chelsea drugstore to get your prescription filled. I was standing in line with Mr. Jimmy. A man, did he look pretty ill? We decided that we would have a soda. My favorite flavor, cherry red. I sung my song to Mr. Jimmy. Yeah, and it's one word to me, and that was there. I said to him, you can't always get what you want. No, you can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. No, but if you try sometime, you just might find you get what you need. Oh, yeah. In her glass was bleeding man. She was practiced at the art of deception. Well, I could tell by her bloodstained hands. You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want. But if you try sometime, you just might